this is quite the surprise. I did not see this coming. I truly did not see this coming. I did not think they would get this done, but my God, they found a way to get it done. They found a way to get it done. So, first of all, everybody, happy Easter. Hope you guys are enjoying your day. On this Easter Sunday, the Ravens decide to bless the fan base by finding a way to get this deal done. They found a way to get Odell Beckham Jr. So, they signed Odell Beckham Jr. to a one-year deal up to $18 million. 15 of that is guaranteed. All right. Odell Beckham Jr. is officially a Baltimore Raven. This is interesting. This is very interesting. I did not think they were going to get him. I didn't see him coming to Baltimore, especially with the whole situation happening with Lamar. I'm surprised that they were able to get him. But here we are. Odell Beckham Jr. is officially a Raven. Now, you take a look at the receiver room. You look at the top four guys you're going to have there. Odell, Nelson Aguilar, Rashad Bateman, and Devin Duvernay. If the Ravens draft a receiver, I'm going to be honest, the receiver room isn't going to look bad. You could take a look at that and sit back and say, you know what? This is probably the best receiving room we've had in quite some time. If Lamar is on the team this upcoming season, this will easily be the best receiving core he's had in his career as a Raven. So, hey, bringing Odell Beckham Jr. here it definitely helps the receiving room. You know, usually when we talk about certain players that can move the needle in a certain room, this is the guy that can help move the needle in the right direction for the receiving core. So when you look at it from the positive aspects, we know what Odell brings to the table. This guy is incredibly talented. If he gets to work with Lamar, Lamar will have the most talented receiver he's ever played with in his entire career. This will be massive for him, and he's going to have one of those main weapons that he can utilize, and it will be great. He'll be able to utilize that, as well as have Rashad Bateman, and again, that's a great 1-2 punch with the receiving core. You're going to have Devin Duvernay here still, and Nelson Aguilar is a veteran. He'll be able to help out. So, yeah, bringing Odell Beckham Jr. here is going to be a positive for the receiving room, but we have to look at all aspects, and when there are some positives, you gotta look at the negatives. Here's the negative of this. Odell has been dealing with injuries over the last couple years. You gotta look at his injury history. You know, he's already dealt with 2 ACL injuries. Are we sure this guy can stay healthy for a 17-game period? Like, we have to have him here the entire season. Is Odell going to be able to stay healthy the entire season? That would be a concern. For a guy that's been dealing with several injuries over the last couple years, and these are major injuries, that would have to be a concern. But that is something that we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Now, revolving this deal, I can tell you right now, I'm shocked to see the Ravens put up that type of money for a receiver, because that's something they don't normally do. The Ravens aren't willing to give $15 to $20 million to a receiver. But here they are doing that for Odell. Yeah, it's a one-year deal, but here they are doing that for Odell. What this tells me is the Ravens are doing everything in their power to try and convince Lamar to stay. They want Lamar to stay, but they also want him to drop his asking price. That's what they're hoping for. They're hoping that Lamar can drop his asking price. How do they want to convince Lamar to drop his asking price? By surrounding him with weapons, going out and getting him other guys that he can utilize, bringing in somebody like Odell to try to convince Lamar to stay here. If that convinces Lamar to stay here, or if that helps to convince Lamar to stay here, the Ravens are absolutely willing to do so. If that's enough to help him drop his price, by all means, the Ravens will do that. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to convince him. I mean, bringing in Odell, is that enough to say, hey, Lamar's going to drop his asking price? I truly don't know. I mean, you could hope for the best, but I truly don't know if that's going to be enough. But the Ravens making this move definitely tells me that they're hopeful that this will help convince Lamar to want to stay, and will convince him to drop his asking price to be closer to what the Ravens want to give him, which again, we don't even know what the full deal is. We don't even know what the deals have been for both sides when it comes to the negotiation. We do not know the official numbers that both sides are throwing out there, but the Ravens getting Odell tells me that they're trying to convince Lamar to stay and to drop his asking price. If you surround him with good weapons, then you would hope that he'd be more likely to want to stay, because where is he going to go? If this is a guy that wants to win a championship, why would he go to a team with lesser weapons than stay on a team that's giving you weapons that can compete for a championship? You want to go to another team with lesser weapons that has no chance to compete for a championship but could pay the money you want? Or do you want to stay with the Ravens that is picking up weapons, has a team that looks like they can compete for a championship and try to win a Super Bowl here? That's kind of what the Ravens are doing. And this is not a surprise. Many of us threw this out there. We all said if the Ravens aren't going to try and pay him, then they're going to try to find ways to convince him to lower his price. One way you could try to convince him to lower his price is by signing some weapons for him. Get him some legit weapons, some guys that can make plays, catch the football, make some big plays down the field. You get him guys like that, then the hope is Lamar Jackson will lower his price and say, you know what, I'll take a lesser deal to stay here and try to win a championship. That's what the Ravens are doing here. Because let's be real, if Lamar Jackson already had a long-term contract done, this deal with Odell doesn't happen. They're not spending $15, $18 million to go get a receiver. That's not the Ravens model. That's not how they've done business. That's not what they usually do. It's rare to see them spend that type of money for a wide receiver. So this is obviously a move that they are choosing to make in order to convince Lamar Jackson to stay and lower his price. We'll see if that works out in the long run, but this is the game they're trying to do. Now, you look at the receiving room, like we said, Odell Beckham Jr., Nelson Aguilar, Rashad Bateman, Devin Duvernay. Those are your four main guys. You go into the draft and you pick up a wide receiver. Now you've got a receiving room that will be severely better than what it was in previous years. And honestly, if Lamar was to stay and play with that receiving core, that will easily be the best receiving core he's played with his entire career, by far. You're going to give him Odell and Bateman to work with, and he's going to be able to utilize Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. That's what you're surrounding him with. Yeah, it'd be difficult to see him complain about the receiving core if that was the issue for him. This will easily be the best receiving core he's ever had. Now, again, I don't know if that's going to be enough to convince him, but that seems to be the move the Ravens are choosing to go with, because I don't see why they would spend this type of money on a wide receiver like this. This is not their usual MO, so I'm surprised to see them do this. This really wouldn't be seen as a good Ravens deal because they don't spend that type of money on wide receivers. So this can only convince me that they're doing this to try to get Lamar to lower his price to something where they would feel comfortable in compromising and giving him that deal. Don't know if that's going to work out in their favor, but hey, at least they're trying. Listen, all we ask is for them to try. You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Many of us ask for them to try, but we want to see them succeed. Like, let's cut that. I've seen a lot of people say, all we ask is for the franchise in the front office to try. These guys are trying. Let's not pretend they're not trying. How many times have we heard the Ravens are interested in this player? Obviously, they're trying. Y'all don't want them to just try. You want them to try and be successful at the same time. They need to put in the effort, and that effort needs to show results. Let's just be honest. I've seen so many people say, man, I just want to see the Ravens try. They have been trying. It just hasn't been working out. This time it worked out. What you want to see is to see them have some level of success. Any level of success. Even if it's just once every year or every couple years. Just get something. That's what y'all wanted. So, hey, Ed DeCosta gave you what you wanted. Odell's here. He's a Raven. But, yeah, we'll just have to see how this goes. At least they tried and they got something. This is the best you can do, man. If this is how they're going to go and try to convince Lamar to lower his price to stay, then hey, it's not a bad thing. And if Lamar chooses to not stay and they have to trade him, well then, look to draft another quarterback and he'll be surrounded by these weapons. And let's see what that young guy can do. Either way, the Ravens are trying to set themselves up to at least be able to be competitive next year. If they have Lamar, they're looking to contend next year. If they don't, they'll have to draft a new guy and see if they can be competitive this upcoming season. Either way, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, final thoughts on the Odell situation. In fact, I don't even think I talked about that. My personal feelings. I spoke about the whole aspect of what he brings to the table and the impact, but I don't think I spoke on my personal feelings about it. Me personally, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I think we know what he brings to the table. There's positives and negatives. When he's healthy, he's a hell of a talent on the field, and he would be a great weapon for Lamar Jackson to utilize if he's our quarterback this upcoming season. If he's not healthy, then at the end of the day, it's just going to be another player you brought in the hopes of being successful, but he's just not healthy enough to be on the field to do anything. I mean, like, you brought in Sammy Watkins to be effective, but he was not healthy enough to stay there. And early on, the first time around when he was here, he was being successful and he was being productive. But once he got injured in the Colts game, that was pretty much his season. He didn't really do much after that. Now, with Odell, the hope is he can stay healthy, but if he's not on the field, then essentially this becomes a wash because it's a one-year deal. So this is basically the Ravens' attempt to try and retain Lamar Jackson. But we'll see how things go. Anyway, I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much for the love and support. And with that being said, that is all I've got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace!